Everyone chased the number, but the number wasn't the story. The story was the one thing the cameras missed. A dead straight scar hiding beneath a frozen hillside where nature draws only curves. That line shouldn't have existed, yet it did, and it turned cursed ground into a treasure map while lighting a fuse that still hasn't burned out. How does a mine nobody would touch suddenly spit out pay like a slot machine? And why did one quiet discovery trigger a louder war above ground than anything buried below it? Picture the setup: a cut with a brutal reputation, winter closing in, days shrinking, fuel burning faster than patience. Most crews back away because this ground eats money and the clock eats nerves. One wrong move ends the season early. The highlights show the weigh table, but the action that decides a season happens earlier when a tiny clue changes the entire plan. Online, wild claims always fly. Secret arrests, shutdowns, shadowy enemies, but dirt and data speak clearer. Two questions decide stories like this: what tilted the odds, and who recognized it fast enough to act? The answer wasn't luck, it was patience. A smarter way to read land, and a map that revealed what eyes couldn't. Follow that thread, and everything else snaps into place. The ground tried to win, the scan pushed back, and one quiet choice kicked off a season people couldn't stop talking about. The turning point happened before the first bucket touched pay. There's tough ground, and then there's frozen for centuries ground. Permafrost isn't regular dirt. It's rock-hard, ice-rich, and moody. It holds like concrete until heat pokes it. Then it slumps, slides, and snaps without warning. Strip the brush, the sun sneaks in, and suddenly the site becomes a juggling act of ice, mud, and timing. 1 hour looks solid. The next behaves like ball bearings under tracks. That's why cuts like this get labeled cursed. No ghost story needed. Just physics and a warm afternoon. Everything becomes layered risk. What's hard now may turn slick later. What looks stable can become a moving wall. A thaw can shear a face clean off. Meltwater creeps under mats, finds a ramp, and sends a dozer skating. Hidden pockets fill, freeze, thaw, and push work apart like a wedge. Even the sound changes. Tiny pops and cracks whistle from the bank when sunlight hits. That's the warning. Every pass costs extra. More fuel for ripping, more hours on teeth, more wear on pins and bushings. Rushing multiplies mistakes. Rip too shallow and glaze the top. Rip too deep and break structure. One small slip buries a track. The recovery burns half a day. The face warms while the tug of war drags on. And now the wall wants to move. The only way through is better information. Seeing danger before it moves. More muscle won't save a bad read. More vision will. Old school mining runs on memory and scars. Useful, but limited. New school stacks fresh tools on top of grit. Enter LiDAR, a super accurate tape measure made of light. A drone fires pulses, measures the bounce back, and builds a 3D map that ignores leaves and brush. Photogrammetry brings color. LiDAR delivers shape. In rough country, shape wins. Fly a grid, pull the point cloud, strip the clutter. Ruts, stumps, old tailings, gone. What's left is the truth of the terrain. The truth matters most in permafrost. The hunt focuses on breaks in slope, old channels, and anything that rejects nature's curves. Nature loves messy lines. People leave straight ones. When a razor-clean edge hides under tangled brush, pulses quicken. That could be an old road bench, a trench, or something deeper. LiDAR also saves weeks. Instead of burning time pushing trails to sea, the map shows it in an afternoon. Loose zones appear before heavy iron parks on them. Safer ramp lines pop out. Dead ground, tempting but worthless, gets cut from the plan. Heat stays out of weak spots because guessing stops. In the north, that difference decides seasons. The house usually wins when bets are blind, but if the edges are clear, where to avoid, where to test, blind bets turn into smart plays. This dataset told a simple story. Nature hates straight lines. One perfect line ran against the grain. Human geometry under wild brush. When people from a century ago leave a mark like that, there's a reason. Time to follow it. Under the brush. A ruler-straight mark, not a creek, slump, or animal trail. Human geometry. That kind of clue flips a plan. Why carve a new ramp through concrete hard frost when a past crew left a door? Use the door, but never trust it. Old. Shafts lie. Voids behind rotten wood. Hidden pockets. Stale air that makes a wall brittle. The only safe plan is cautious and redundant. Reinforce, test, and advance in short, controlled steps. Shoring comes first. Old timbers count as history, not support. Steel goes in. Plates, beams, cross ties so a single failure doesn't chain into collapse. Equipment parks where a slide can't reach. Heat loads stay managed so engines don't warm weak zones. Progress gets measured in sections, not hero pushes. One safe bay at a time. Then the check. Do early pans match the map? In ground like this, color isn't just color. It confirms that theory meets reality. A few smart scoops, a wash, and the story lines up. Tempo increases, but only a notch. Shortcuts save weeks and trade them for risk. One misread costs structure, not hours. Rumors love numbers because big tallies sound magical. Reality is less flashy and more powerful. Weeks of pain trimmed to days of focused work. Heat kept off the face. Money saved instead of burned. That's how wins happen in places that hate miners. By tilting the math, not wishing for luck. As soon as pay shows, another clock starts. How long the valley stays quiet. Word travels faster than water. The line opened a door. The crew had to slip through it before everyone else grabbed the handle. The moment gold totals climb, a different storm rolls in. Not snow, noise. Names bounce around phones and posts. Wild claims appear from nowhere. Click-heavy headlines promise drama, danger, and giant numbers. Most of it is built for views, but views carry weight. Noise steals time. A narrow weather window demands clear heads. Yet messages, questions, and surprise concerns pile up. Permits that were fine last week get reread. Suppliers ask pointed questions. A landowner stops returning calls. A couple of top operators hear about fresh opportunities exactly when they're most needed. Whether planned or not, the effect is the same. Momentum wobbles, and the valley loves a wobble. Strangers suddenly know everything, retelling posts that grow teeth with every share. Inside the fence, pressure splits people in different ways. Some sharpen up, some get jumpy. Some spend overtime in town and return tired, turning small mistakes into expensive ones. The one cure is simplicity. Clear targets, clean communication, and no hero moves. Remove the pauses where drama grows and the rumor fire loses oxygen. Hard truth, touching pay isn't the finish line. It's the starter gun for a new race. The ground battle turns into a human battle against distraction, envy, and small paper cuts that bleed a schedule dry. Silence becomes strategy. Let the scale talk when it's time. Keep heads down the rest of the week. Gold looks light in a pan, but it's heavy in a plan. After a big hit, the world doesn't get easier. It gets closer. Inspectors read every line. Neighbors flag every stake. Land prices creep up. Fuel terms tighten. Each choice throws a longer shadow. Tailgate talks change tone. Jokes get shorter. Eyes drop to maps faster. And words get measured because the stakes have teeth. Money discipline decides whether a hot streak becomes a strong season. Giant cleanups can hide sloppy habits, so waste gets trimmed. Maintenance tightens, and the people who keep iron moving get protected. Safer rotations reduce tired hand mistakes. Bonus plans reward consistency, not spikes, so momentum feels sustainable. Rhythm beats sugar rush. The land play becomes chess. One big find draws buyers who try to box a claim from the edges. Options line up early. Boundaries get checked twice, and cash gets saved for the next move, not the next toy. Nothing ends a hot streak faster than spending like every week will break records. Most weeks won't. The quiet enemy is overconfidence. A shortcut worked once, so ego pushes for another. That path ends in wreckage. Each plan starts fresh. The face gets walked in the morning. Tiny cracks get listened for, and every shift is treated like the one that decides the month. A crown sits heavy. The smart move is wearing it low profile, steady, and boring until freeze up closes the book. Operational discipline locks it in. Vendor lists widen, so one delayed truck can't stall production. Critical spares, hoses, teeth, pins, belts, pump seals sit labeled in dry storage. Red, yellow, green boards track machine health at a glance. Fuel is forecast by shift and reconciled nightly to catch leaks or theft before they grow teeth. Water plans get reviewed after every warm spell. Ditches scraped, culverts cleared, backup pumps test run before sundown. Paperwork stays audit ready. Haul logs, discharge readings, reclamation notes, typed, dated, signed. Communication gets sharper, not louder. Radio chatter stays clean. Hand signals stay standard. Tailgate briefs stay under 10 minutes with 3 priorities. One hazard, one exit route. End of shift debriefs capture what changed and who needs help tomorrow. Safety isn't a poster. It's a habit. Spotters used on every blind move. Chocks under every parked loader. Lockout tags respected even when the clock screams. Winter always wins, so winterization starts early. Stockpiles get shaped to shed melt. Ramps get sanded. Heat lines get insulated. insulated, and batteries cycle on timers. When the first real cold snaps, the site is already ready. That's how a heavy plan carries real gold, quiet, organized, and built to survive attention. Winning crews follow a simple rule. Tech matters. LiDAR shrinks the haystack. Drones cut weeks to days. Smarter maps turn nasty ground into a path that actually holds. But tech doesn't finish jobs. People do. Crews under pressure. Leaders who pick the right fight at the right time. Schedules that respect weather instead of trying to bully it. Rumors can fly faster than sluice water. Land deals can turn a win into a wait. Crew stress can crack a plan from the inside. That's the real game after pay shows up. The straight line still explains everything. Not a magic door. Proof that the land remembers. Old-timers left signs. Read them. Add laser light. Move early. And risk drops while odds rise. That's the edge. Not height, not luck. Pattern spotting, patience, and speed once the pattern proves out. Execution turns that edge into gold. Clear roles keep the site calm. One brain on ground movement, one on water, one on iron, one on tally. Short, repeatable checklists beat hero moves. Safety briefs stay tight. Today's cut, today's hazards, today's exit routes. Tools earn their keep only when operators communicate. Hand signals agreed in advance. Radios kept clean. No chatter during tricky lifts. Maintenance isn't a suggestion, it's insurance. Grease points get hit on a timer, not when there's time. Spare hoses, teeth, pins, and pump parts live on site, labeled and reachable. Weather sets the rhythm. Cold mornings handle ripping and face work. Warm hours shift to hauling, de-icing, and prep. If a bank starts to weep, the plan pivots to a safer panel without drama. Water never gets a head start. Ditches opened early, pumps tested early, backup pumps fueled and staged where a slide can't touch them. People hold the line. Fatigue swaps happen before mistakes, not after. Bonuses reward steady weeks, not one wild cleanup. Gossip dies at the fence because focus lives inside it. When buyers try to box a claim, maps and paperwork are already ahead by a week. When headlines chase clicks, the scale speaks once, then the crew goes back to work. So what's a giant strike on ground that wants miners gone? A gift with sharp edges. It cuts anyone who grabs wrong. Handled right, respecting the cold, keeping the crew tight, and letting data guide guts. It changes a season and sets up the next one. This channel digs into how smart plans beat tough ground, how noise can't mine gold, and how the smallest clue flips everything. A huge payday is exciting, but staying quiet after a strike matters more than celebrating it. The fastest way to lose momentum is to assume the win will protect itself. It won't. A simple, repeatable playbook keeps the edge sharp while attention spikes. Lock the information flow. Only essentials move across the crew. Tallies stay need to know until the week closes. Numbers get stored, not shared. Without fresh ammo, rumor fires burn cooler. Field chatter shrinks to signals that actually help. Fuel, service windows, safe-to-dig zones, and weather alerts. Everything else waits. Guard the schedule. The best defense is boring, on-time work. Maintenance windows stack at the start of each shift, not the end. So late day, one more pass mistakes get starved. Hot hours, when sun warms faces, shift from deep cuts to hauling and prep. Night crews get consistent handoffs, annotated maps, flagged hazards, and three-line targets posted where the first operator steps out. Protect the faces. Bank angles stay conservative. Benches widen before the next tally spike. Water management becomes non-negotiable. Ditch lines open, pumps test early, backups fueled and ready. When permafrost starts to weep, the plan pivots to safer panels instead of fighting a losing bank. Keep suppliers close. Quiet, honest updates go to the people who keep the place running. Diesel, parts, and haul. Paying on time isn't just manners. It's insurance against sudden shortages when competitors start sniffing around. If a delivery slips, a short factual note goes out early to kill guessing and keep trust. Hold the crew together. Bonuses tie to weeks, not single jackpots. Safer rotations become routine. Tired operators swap before fatigue shows up in the bucket. Off-site noise stays out of tailgate talks. Meetings stick to what helps finish a shift safely and profitably. Shine-chasing headlines get zero oxygen on site. Map the next move before the current one peaks. Claims next door get eyes on early. Boundaries, access, and water plans get checked while the current pay streak still runs. Cash is reserved for land, not lifestyle. The goal isn't a victory lap, it's continuity. One strong season becomes two when growth gets planned during strength, not after a slump. Follow this playbook and a giant strike stops being a one-off headline. It becomes a platform, steady, predictable, and hard for rivals to shake. Subscribe to Gold Era 2.0 so future deep dives don't slip by. More smart breakdowns, tighter playbooks, books, and the strategies that turn risky ground into reliable wins are up next.